back, guys, to CryptoKin News. I hope you're well. On today's video, I've got a community member with me called Jace. How you doing, Jace?
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Just been busy with speaking to people and doing kin-related stuff, really. Thank you for attending today. It's really much appreciated, and I know how much you love kin, so I thought it'd be great to have you on.
Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about Ken. Yeah, I mean, I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, no, I actually had a few requests to actually get you on here, so it wasn't just me picking you out. Yeah, so
Oh,
I don't know if you know Lee. He's from the community council, and he recommended you, and also someone else in is it Kin Homies? I believe it is. Um,
there's
there's
several.
so
I
many.
mean, I know. Yeah, I know you. You probably get it. You see Ken and you join the Telegram channel. Join the Telegram channel. I can't even keep track anymore because ever since the announcement that Ken was settling with the SEC, it just sprouted up. I was like, well, joining that one, joining that one, joining that one, and I just pop in, I lurk, and I actually legitimately have no idea who the majority of people are anymore because it's just so convoluted and confusing.
Yeah, I mean, like back in the days, a couple of months ago, there wasn't actually that many people, and now it's just full, which is great actually. It's great to see new faces around and getting everyone's new views and opinions on Kin, and yeah, it's been perfect really. Um, so just to start off, really, so what actually got you interested in Kin in the first place?
So, so it's not a good reason, but I'm going to share it regardless because I did become a little bit more educated. So just like everyone else, during the ICO boom, I'm like looking and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm just going to throw money at this. That's legitimately how it started. But becoming more familiar with the project, I started looking at who was behind it, what they've done. Ted Livingston, I mean, to say that he is, on the bleeding edge would be an understatement. If you follow, his career and seeing what he said, and along the way how people have come and, you know, uh, let's just say parse really good parts from his vision and created these other, glorious companies. I just said to myself, wow, this is someone that's a bleeding edge thought leader, and I'm just going to believe in him, believe in his vision, and that's what brought me a little bit more into the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ted was a huge part actually of why I joined the Kin community. To be fair, he just seemed so passionate about Kin. It was unreal. And I really believed in his vision, and I still
Yes.
believe in his vision. Actually, it's been a very tough road, but we seem to be getting there, and it's nice to see some progress starting to happen. It's perfect, really.
Mhm. So I can tell you the day that I became an actual legitimate believer. I was already invested in the project, but it was more so it was like I'm just trying to diversify, and I try to find those moonshots just like everyone else. And I was like, man, this is an underdog. So like I love the underdog story, and that's why I originally like came to the project. But the day that I became a believer is Ted Livingston put out on Medium an article. Facebook isn't going, or sorry, it was a Facebook isn't going after Bitcoin, they're going after the US dollar. I think that's the name of the Medium article. If you read through that, right, and you take a step back and you just say, wow, I mean, this isn't just about cryptocurrency. This is about, global economics and, just him being able to understand, how sanctions work and how important the dollar is as the US, reserve currency, and being able to understand, where we're going as a society, not just, as Americans or Canadians or, wherever you call home, but just going as a, uh, humanity, where we're going and how, uh, monetary policy is going to change. And him just seeing that, I was like, wow, he's skating to where the puck is going to be, not where the puck currently is. And I was like, I completely believe in this man.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I really like about Ted, and that's why I really like Kin. He is a true visionary. He's one step ahead. And it's just funny. I know he's been under a lot of fire in the past about mentioning Bitcoin to zero or whatever he said. But he's I think he's just right in some sort of sense that you know value and in tokens are going to rise with utility and demand, whereas Bitcoin's a bit more speculative, isn't it? Well, it is 90% speculative, really. So I just think he's very misunderstood, and I think for those who actually understand where he's coming from is why yeah, they're with Kin at the moment, and yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I completely concur with that. I mean, everything from you talking about from a utility perspective, especially, right? And that's why I'm a big believer in Ken. And, I'm going to cite a few other, projects just to give my, point of view some credibility. I'm looking at projects that are really deeply invested in the SDK, right? Because I'm a big believer in picks and shovels. If you can develop technologies that other people are going to use to build up, other economies, you have to have the tools that developers can use to make it more accessible to everyone. And so when I read about what Ken was doing with their SDK, it was on parallel with what Bat is doing, with their Brave browser, as well as what XRP is doing with their Spring initiative, and enabling developers to build these tools. And so when I look at Ken and knowing that it's going after these microtransactions, to me that just opened up the whole world of being like, wow, we're no, I'm saying we're, I don't work at Ken, but like what they're trying to do is they're trying to change how, app developers can make money. And it's leveling the playing field for everyone that, uses, app development as their source of income. And I just fell in love with that idea.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. And I think like with the SDKs and everything, that's what also drew me towards it, because it's not just a speculative coin. You know what I mean? They're integrating multiple apps to make a big economy. And I truly think that's going to happen. I mean, with the Code app, no one knows what the Code app is really going to be. There's just a lot of a lot of talks about it at the moment, but I just think it's just amazing how he's thought so far ahead and just thought, what, we're not just going to make a coin for kick, we're going to make a coin which gets used by everyone for the digital
Mhm.
world, and it's just amazing, really. And the fact that it's now a monetization model for apps is just an absolute bonus. There's no doubt in my mind that lots of these apps actually currently which use Kin wouldn't be making that much money if it wasn't for Kin. There's no way that Google and all that would be paying them half as much money as they're getting at the moment, and it's really good to see, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, as you know, I don't think your viewers know this, but I work in media and entertainment, and I run and manage television networks globally. And so we're always looking at new ways to create monetization models for ourselves, as well as evolving these traditional platforms that are not tactile, not like an app where you can touch and be interactive with something like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, but a linear, just like very non-interactive feed, and taking those traditional streams and finding a way to add those interactive elements into them, whether it be a second screen experience or creating an ott, which is over the top, like Netflix, Hulu, just an app-based video experience. And that's why I love Ken, is because this SDK doesn't have to just stay in a traditional sense of I'm an app developer. It can very much be overlaid on top of new monetization methodologies for traditional media. And I find that very exciting.
Yeah, I was just going to actually mention about like what apps you think should integrate Kin, or have you got any plans in the future of where like you might use Kin? Is there anything like you use at the moment where you might reach out and get it integrated, or
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack there, right? But let's start with the easiest piece, which this whole entire community, as well as the entire crypto community, is very aware of, right? Which is regulation, right? And regulation is just as emphatic on broadcast industry as it is on what is the crypto industry. And so there's a lot of rules that we have to operate within. Now let's reel back a little bit. So as I just stated, I focus on launching, managing, and running television networks globally. My flagship network is in India, right? And that market is huge. There's over 1.3 billion people in India, right? Well, that sounds like a great opportunity for something like Ken, because they're an Android specific market, right? It's not an Apple specific market, it's an Android specific market. Well, the Ken SDK could very much do very well there. Now let's reel back a little bit further, right? Well, India just banned 58 Chinese apps, which has left a major gap in the market, right? So if an app developer is looking to enter any market right now, I highly recommend entering India because of that. You have a great opportunity to create an app, and a Ken specific app at that. So now to answer your question relevant to my business, would I like to create a Ken enabled app? Yeah, absolutely. Now I have to play within those boundaries I just outlined, but I can tell you that within India specifically, there are people within the media industry that are starting to look at crypto and starting to ask questions and starting to become more curious about it. I'm going into meetings all over the world and I'm talking about Ken. You know, to be fair, I'm talking about other cryptocurrencies, but I'm emphatically talking about Ken. And the reason why comes back just to the SDK. And I can go into a little bit more specifics. Something along the lines of uh, let's talk about telecommunications companies. Let's like pinpoint on that. All right. So I'm walking to meetings with all these telecommunication companies, and for comparison, think about AT&T, Verizon. Well, in India, I'm going to people like Airtel, Geo, etc. And they're very open to when you're onboarding apps onto their platform, onboarding your SDK within your app. And so a barrier entry of getting a cryptocurrency on the phone in India might not be as hard as it actually is here within North America. So it's something we are taking a look at.
Oh wow, that's yeah, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
That could really be huge. And I think the community is absolutely going to love what you just said. I think there'll be a lot of chats about that.
Well, I mean, so I just want to, calm expectations, right? Which is, when you think about cryptocurrency, I've been trying like loosely playing around with like this like kind of comparison is so think about it in terms of spectrum, right? There's only a finite amount of spectrum. And you can argue against me and say, well, there can be infinite amount of cryptocurrencies, which, technically you'd be correct. But with regulations, that infinite amount is now drastically reduced to, probably would be a comparison metaphorically of, like how much spectrum is available to people. And the reason why I'm so passionate about Ken is recently, is everyone who's probably listening to this right now, is we now have clarity that Ken is no longer uh, thought of as a security, right? It's amongst a handful of cryptos that can operate with that badge and say, okay, this is safe, all right? I don't predict there's going to be too much more of those. And the reason why is because of everything we outlined previously, talking about whether it be global fiscal policy, global reserve currency, there just isn't going to be an open playing field. It's going to be highly regulated, and I think that's a good thing, and I think that's actually a really good thing for Ken.
Yeah, no, definitely. Would you say that's what you're most excited about now? Now the SEC is behind us. Would that be?
So, I mean, I have two things, right? And they're equal, right? Which is, obviously, I am an investor, right? So the speculation ramifications of what has just happened is monumental. So that's one. And two, yeah, I mean, the regulation saying this is not a security, knowing that the United States is very friendly to India right now, meaning that something like Ken will probably play well there, makes me emphatically excited. And part three, which is a little truth, is that I do run a television network that reaches over 650 million people. So if let's just say, I'm not saying I'm doing this, but let's say I want to promote a certain app that has Ken in it, that's feasible, right? I do have that power to do that. Um, and it's something that we're looking at, we're considering. It may be a ways away, due to regulation, and I can't, comment on whether or not this actually will ever happen, but it's something we are thinking about. But we aren't thinking about it, selfishly. We're not thinking about this could, generate, a lot of revenue for our company. We're actually thinking about it of, I'm a storyteller and I want to tell more engaging stories, and something that, promotes more interactivity amongst storytellers, as well as creates new revenue streams for creators. That's what I'm most excited about. And giving people more tools and more freedom to do those things, it's just so incredibly exciting.
It is ever so exciting, really. And it's funny you mentioned about revenue streams. I was actually on YouTube, and I think I mentioned this in my other video. And there's actually people in India and other countries actually trying to earn kin and then selling it. And that's what I find really exciting. You know what I mean? Like people can't really do that with Bitcoin.
So, I mean, like to get you guys even more excited, I'm based in Los Angeles, right? And I'm having conversations with people like trying to get to, the guilds here, whether it be the Writers Guild of America, the Directors Guild of America, and just having conversations with them about cryptocurrency in general and talking about, ways that we can monetize stories. All right. And then trying to help them become more aware of, this is the world that's coming and we should prepare for it. And one of the cryptos I'm, emphatically mentioning is obviously Ken, because it does have such a high supply. I really do believe that microtransactions are the future, um, and I think Ken could do very well in that environment.
Yeah, no, definitely. I personally think it's going to do very well. What's your thoughts on it being used outside of the sort of like digital world?
Well, I mean, so if you look at the developer stack, right, and you look at outside of what the Kin Foundation is doing, I mean, you can point at other funded programs right now like PayID, right? PayID is making crypto accessible pretty much to anyone, right? As long as you have an email address or is essentially an email address, you can send any amount of crypto without like having to designate, tag or all those other confusing bits to send money to anyone. But yeah, I mean, look at what PayPal's doing, look at what Square's doing. So it's all about, who are the people that are controlling these gates and are they going to let them down for other cryptos? And looking at PayPal specifically, the news that came out within the last 2 weeks, they fully plan on offering more cryptos on their platform. So yes, absolutely. I think that's going to happen. And I think that Ken could play within that world.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be very interesting. So one question I actually got, Sano, I believe his name was.
Okay.
How do you feel the community could help drive kin forward?
Yeah, I mean, this is very, very simple, right? This is a ground game, right? And this is for any cryptocurrency project, right? It's all about utility. If you want to push Ken forward, the only way to do that is develop apps and to integrate the SDK. I mean, there's a couple other things you could be doing, but no, let's focus on the ground game. So if you're a big believer in Ken, integrate it in your app, right? Think of new ways to create experiences that are going to give people value. And ultimately, someone's going to have to be the Bitcoin pizza guy. You're going to have to spend your Ken. Hoarding it as a speculative asset. It's all well and good, but unless you have token velocity, the project is going to, become a store of value rather than a currency.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, something that is very important, just thinking out loud, is we need more websites with Ken. Like, and the reason why I'm suggesting that right now is, you know, Apple's still, a major gateway. Google's still a major gateway. And if for whatever reason, those behemoths say you can no longer operate on our store, and I know Android has other ways you can install apps, so it's not necessarily that you know much of a threat, but still something you need to consider is that we need more websites with this technology because the web is still open, it's still very much free, and it's a little bit harder to
Mm.
regulate.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few good websites being created around, and they are mainly going to be targeting new people in the kin ecosystem, and they're going to be walking through people like how you can use kin, where you can buy kin, what is kin, and every step they'll get rewarded with some kin, and I think websites like that will be quite useful, especially for newcomers. Go to this website, learn about kin, nice interactive,
Mhm.
video or something like that. And I think stuff like that, could be really, really good.
Absolutely. I mean, just riffing off your idea, I don't know if you're familiar with like Masterclass or Udemy, those like online education platforms. I'm a big fan of Udemy, but having an SDK, almost online course of how you can integrate the SDK within your app, I think that would be very, very powerful. And as well as bring new technological partners possibly into the mix. And get them excited about it. Because the barrier of entry right now for anything that involves code is the act of coding itself. So maybe minimizing that a little bit would be helpful.
Well, for the community, then, if you go ahead and make that guide, I'm sure more people will integrate Kitten.
Exactly.
So I had another question, which was, what's your thoughts on Solana pulling out the deal? And what do you think of a community sort of like chasing after it and investigating? Do you think that's the right way to go around it, or?
So there's two obvious answers, right? There's like let's go, and there's like
Yeah,
diplomatic. So I'm going to start with diplomatic, right? Because I feel like that's the best piece to focus on at the moment, right? And I'm speaking directly to the community right now. Take a breath, or just take a breath, right? You have access and awareness of one of the best projects in the world right now. And I don't say that trivially. I legitimately mean that. And it comes down to what we talked about earlier. We have clarity. We have clarity from the SEC, okay, which means we have clarity to onboard onto exchanges. We have clarity to create these new partnerships with developers. We have the opportunity to be excited again. And that's what we should be focusing on. It's not about, telling people like, I was right, and celebrating,
yeah,
that I was right, or just like reveling in like you're wrong, I'm right, and going on the attack, right? Uh, because we have something to legitimately celebrate, and that opportunity is to celebrate the opportunity to build, just to actually be able to exist. And so, if you're listening to me right now and you're taking my words seriously, focus on that, okay, and start building. Because Ted and his first, statement, since I believe he was forced to go dark was, you know, it's going to be a tough road ahead. Just because we have this clarity right now doesn't mean it's over. We haven't won. The short to medium term for Ken is very positive, but the long term is still very, very unknown. Right. So let's build towards that future. Right. That's my thought on that. Now, for the other part of that argument, like let's go. Um, and this is uh, me being a businessman as well, is like, look, I believe Solana did what they had to do, right? I truly believe that. I think that it wasn't malicious. I think that they were just trying to ensure that they weren't entrapped in a situation that would be negative to the growth of their company. So this is me speaking directly to them. Is look, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with you and Kin Foundation, but I want you to know that there's people out there that have been with this project from the beginning, and they're not only physically invested, with their savings and as well as their sweat equity and their emotions, but I believe there's a lot of people that are invested in this because they believe in it.
exactly.
And so, if I can say anything to you, is just that help those people out. Like stand with us and, help promote this project and, show that you care. So that's my I would say very like,
Yeah,
soft go after Solana. Yeah.
I must admit that I do agree with everything you've said. I think I think any serious business would have looked at Kin and thought they're fighting the US government. If you actually see, the
Mhm.
chances of someone winning a court case against them is slim. Um, and as much as I believed in Kin, I always knew that there was a chance that we could be named a security, and lucky enough we haven't. And
Mhm.
but at the same time, like if I must admit, if I was in Solana's shoes, I would think I need to reduce the business risk here. And so I have to
Mhm.
totally agree with what you said. And uh, I can't really fault them emotionally. I can like, emotionally. I think, oh, why did you do
Yes,
this? But at the same time, I think if I
absolutely.
was in their shoes, I would probably do the same. Having Kin on their website and just say then he lost against the SEC and he got labelled as security, maybe that would cause bad press for Solana most probably. So I do totally get that. But we've all got great days ahead of us, and we've survived, and we didn't have to register as a security, so full steam ahead. And I just really can't wait to see what code is, and then hopefully apps can start bringing out some decent spends. I'm really really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. I mean, truly, I mean, and I say this to everyone, whether it be, a friend, right? Where I'm like, hey, take a look at Ken, or potential business partner, where I'm like, hey, you should explore this technology. Just I'm very happy about the short to medium term. I've never been more confident in a project in my life on that like small time frame, because the world is it's open. It's just open, and the technology is real. We know it's real. We're already using it, and so uh, more than anything, all these squabbles around Solana, I really want, just the community to look at what we just talked about.
Exactly.
Like, they had to do it. They
Yeah.
made a business decision. It's not emotional. It's not. I'm sure that, I would actually bet money on the fact that Ted probably didn't even take it personally. I bet he was probably like, "This is what you have to do." Emotionally, he was
Yeah.
probably upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as long as, just as well as we are. But I mean, the truth is, at the end of the day, when the project, was just crashing, right, and just nothing but red just going down, I was one of the few that was actually excited,
Mm.
right? I really was, because I know that probably makes me sound like a masochist to a lot of people, but I look at opportunities like that, and I'm using the word opportunity and capitalizing on them, because when something like that is hit so hard, right, I'm talking about just hit so hard, the actual risk to reward, the risk goes down, but the reward goes up substantially. That's what I'm trying to say. And quite literally, and I told this to anyone who would listen, people that are big decision makers, across the world, and getting them to look at this project and contemplate, what that could mean. Because I mean, for a very minimal investment, you could have access to something that could be truly revolutionary for the world. And you know what? If you lost your money, you lost your investment, whatever. Like, it wouldn't be that bad. And yeah, I actually saw everything as an opportunity.
For me, like Kin is such a great project, and emotionally, I'm just absolutely tied with it. It's completely sort of changed my life, not in a financial way, but in a social way. I'm in a productive way. I'm doing stuff daily for Kin, which is absolutely amazing. Speaking to developers, and so anything I can do, I will get Kin as cheap as I can, and that's why I was buying all the way down to use that Kin really to help grow the ecosystem. So I'm more than happy, not just for an investment, but for the overall situation. Now I can actually give Kin away, and I'm probably rambling on a little bit, but I'm
Yeah.
just so passionate about it. I'm just so happy it's happened.
I'm happy we're in the same boat. I mean, like, people thought I was crazy, right? Like, literally crazy. And this is a true story. I went to Tyler Perry Studios, right, in Atlanta, Georgia. I did a full presentation, not, to Tyler Perry. He didn't come into the meeting, but like his team. And I was talking about, cryptocurrency, which, by the way, they love cryptocurrency now. I can say that. There's this little side, this company called Aru Brothers Studios that is doing some pretty cool stuff. Um, we should hear about that in the future. I hope it evolves. But the point is, just talking like a madman about this cryptocurrency project that was under attack by the SEC, and literally talking about the things that you're talking about, saying like, listen, for minimal investment, you could own a large portion of this and disperse it amongst creators and create grants. And so we're thinking about this the same way. um and it's kind of actually invigorating, like someone like that's just like that light bulb turned on. Because for a long time, people thought I was insane.
Yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
sure. Yeah.
All right, so did you ever invest because you were just angry at the FUD?
Um,
Because I definitely did. Like, I would read FUD and it would just make me so mad. I'm like, you know what? No, no. Like, I don't want your negativity. I don't want it.
um, this is probably the most silliest thing. I don't recommend anyone does it, but there was a time when we went through like a really really hard week, and everyone was just screaming and shouting like, "Oh, Kin's dying," blah blah blah, and the price was just plummeting on exchanges, and I had some sort of mad idea. I don't know why I did it, but I put in a lot of money on the exchange just to hold the price up. I don't know why I did that. I shot myself in the foot, but I just couldn't take any more of the of the red candle going down. So I was like, oh, please just stay there. But it's paid off.
You remind me of you remind me of William Wallace, right? Like in the movie Braveheart, just holding the line, just
Yeah, it
hold.
didn't
Yeah,
pay off. Trust me, it went within like half a day.
yeah. Yeah. I will say this, like I'm a pretty level-headed person in this particular project, right? And not a whole lot gets through. Like I'm pretty like business minded. I don't know why I stuck with it, but I just stuck with it. I'm like I don't know. It was the underdog fight. I mean, watching, Ted, I think it was on the block, talking about, when a bully comes up to you, like you gotta fight. And I don't know, he just rallied me up inside. I was like, yeah. I'm like, "Ted, let's go." I don't know why, and
um, One question I was going to ask, which everyone loves talking about exchanges. What is your sort of preference on exchanges? If you could have one exchange to list us right now, what exchange would it be?
alright, so I'm gonna give an unpopular answer, right? But I think it's important. I actually do think it's important. If I were to go with any exchange right now, I would go with something like KuCoin, right? And I'll tell you why. Um, I don't want Ken to moon, 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 moon. I do, like on the long term, but I think going to a tier one exchange would be a mistake. It would probably work out, but I actually believe in the long term health of the project, and therefore I would like to go to someone like a tier two. And plus, it's just a better marketing ramp up, right? If you get listed on a tier two, right, it builds up like people's excitement. It's a natural build up, and it gives the site for something like a Binance or Coinbase. So I know that's an unpopular answer. I mean, obviously, I would love Coinbase. Obviously, I would love Binance or Binance US, but KuCoin is my number one want and wish right now, just because I want a slow build up that just rockets off. I don't want this thing that could fizzle out. I want to just keep on building momentum.
Well, to be fair, I think that's just sensible. I generally think that is the best way to go. I mean, I'd love a Coinbase or a Binance, but like you said, it's better for it to be like gradual and for the ecosystem to be healthy than because you are right, there is a potential that a Coinbase or a Binance could skyrocket kin, but then just fall all the way back down, and then it's even harder to get back up. But yeah, I really hope that we do get a tier two exchange at least after Solana. I think I'm really hoping actually before we migrate to Solana, maybe like something released saying this is the swap partner.
Yeah, I mean, I like that exchange a lot. So that would be my go-to to answer your question. But quickly, I would say within 2 months, followed by Binance, not Binance US. I want to build up a little bit of momentum before entering into the US market, specifically because um, there's a lot of ICO investors that need to be made whole, right? And I actually care about them if they've held through all of this, uh, craziness, this roller coaster ride. I want to slowly build up and try to make them whole again. That's my absolute wish.
Yeah, no, I totally get why you'd want that. I didn't actually buy in at ICO, but I do feel sorry for those who did. But what is great to see actually is that lots of the people who did are actually coming back now to the community and they're a lot more positive about it, and that's
Mhm,
absolutely great to see. And they're hardcore fans. After that, some of them have really stuck it out. um, but
mhm.
I think like a tier two exchange or something, we could see it rise, back to that. But I don't want to speculate really on prices. Anything could happen. So
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, like, price does not interest me anymore, whatsoever. I mean, it'll be great. I mean, I think it'll be great for you too. Let's like not
yeah,
like hide behind
yeah,
that fact. Um, but I mean, I can tell you're passionate about the project. I'm very passionate about the project, especially within India. But like, what I keep on coming back to, and how cool is this? Like, take like a step back. Like, Kin has more clarity than the number 4 cryptocurrency by market cap. Like, XRP doesn't have as much clarity as Kin. That's insane. That's insane. And that's what we have to be excited
Yeah,
about.
no, that is. I don't know how many. I think is it only Ethereum and Bitcoin which has been named currencies? Is there any other?
Well, I mean, you can look at EOS and the settlement.
Yeah,
I'm not as familiar with it as I should be, but I mean, EOS was settled, right? And I don't think they were outright cleared,
no,
so I don't want to say that they were or they were not. But I know that an offering, same thing. They were considered a security. They paid the fine, so I believe that EOS is fine. Um, can't confirm nor deny that. But yeah, there's maybe 10 total across like the board that you can say, all right, these are okay, these are
yeah.
fine.
I mean, it was a huge moment when that come through. It was it really took me back. It's mentally I had to adjust. I couldn't believe it. It's like birthday, Christmas, all all come at once when that happened. It was just insane. I was gobsmacked. Really was, especially because you had that roller coaster of people selling at the first news when it didn't look
Mhm.
very favourable. Um,
I bought more that day. Like literally just bought more that day because like every one of my friends were just so upset. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna do something dumb just to hate myself a little bit more.
yeah.
And it worked out.
Uh,
So
well, yeah, you're a visionary. You knew that was going to happen.
no, I'm very no, I didn't. I'm just
Yeah,
very lucky. But no, but like, just you probably want to talk about the FUD, but man, I can't even tell you how badly the FUD inside the crypto community just really
yeah,
upset me because it just felt like, a lot of, reputable people were kicking us when we were down, like people that I really respect, especially amongst the law community. And in their defense, there's some fantastic lawyers in the crypto space, but majority, if not all, were not saying very nice things about, the Kin community. Sorry, the Kin project. They actually didn't say anything about the Kin community. Um, so yeah, I mean,
I was very shocked as well. I spoke to a lawyer and he literally said, "Oh, we're going to have to definitely wait another year or 2 years for this to be resolved because they'll definitely be going to trial. There won't be a settlement because the SEC is going to just win outright." And I it was a hard pill to swallow.
I'm in the same boat as you, relevant to that. Like literally, like just change names, I'm sure, and insert different person. Had those same experiences, but something that I kept on latching onto, and I have the receipts on my Twitter. Like if you scroll back far enough, you could probably find them. Was that I believe that there were a lot of projects, that we're aware of, and some projects that we're not even aware of yet, with things happening with I mean, the feds talked about inviting. Outside companies into helping make cross-border payments a reality, right? Well, if let's say Ken goes to trial and it loses, right, and it establishes as a precedent, and precedent in law is everything. So whatever happens with Ken is going to affect the entirety of the crypto space, and that's actually what kept me positive in thinking that this has to settle. This absolutely has to settle, and the reason why it has to settle is I know that there's things happening at the Treasury, it's happening at the Fed, and there's things happening across the entirety of the government, whether it be smart contract platforms, utility platforms. We're getting to these fungible tokens, DeFi, DAI, just everything, right? The entire crypto space would be affected by this one singular case. And I looked at that and weighed, is the government willing to risk this precedent that may affect its goals? And I always came back to no.
But that's a really good way to look at it. I wish I got in contact with you before. That would have kept me positive after that talk with the lawyer. So yeah, no, that's really good. So I think I'm actually out of questions now. So I think that's really it from me. But yeah, thank you ever so much for for coming on. It's been really good, and I love speaking to community members. And this has been, yeah, it's been mind blowing how similar this whole situation has been for me and you, really, and we've had the same sort of thoughts on a lot of things. So I really appreciate that. So I really appreciate the chat.
Yeah, I mean, this is great, and I really appreciate your time as well. I'm so diverse in a lot of things that I do. I don't get to spend as much time on crypto as I would like, as well as I don't get to speak about it ever because the majority of my colleagues are media and entertainment people, right? They just want to talk about scripts and the next movie and financing, etc. Right? They don't care about crypto whatsoever, and just being able to speak about it like out loud and not just keep all of this inside my head has been very, very awesome. So thank you so much for having me.
No, no, that's fine. And don't think you're crazy. You did the right thing, and you've got through it.
Oh, I'm absolutely crazy. Like I assure you that that's still a reality.
Well, yeah, it's been very nice to have you on. Yeah, well, I'll definitely have to reach out again. I'll be doing a community video next time with quite a few people. I'm looking to have about 4 people on, and I've got some topics I'd like to go over. So maybe I'll run them through you at some point, and I'm sure the community would love to hear from you. So yeah, I'll get those drafted up and send it through.
All right, sounds great.
Cool. Thank you ever so much.
All right, bye bye.